It's the best day of the year. Happy opening day. The Reds roster's set. We're ready to see the Reds and the Giants play. So who are the main characters of this show this year? Who's some X factors? And what do we have to worry about? We're talking about it on today's Locked On Reds.
You are Locked On Reds, your daily Cincinnati Reds podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Reds. We are the Locked On Reds podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team each and every day. I'm Stephen Offenbaker. That's Jeff Carr over there. We love baseball. We're lifelong Cincinnati Reds fans. We love the Reds. We love the sport. We love this city, and we love talking Reds baseball with you. Jeff and I have been talking about Cincinnati Reds baseball for a combined 14 seasons now in podcast form. We love doing this. We love getting to share the Cincinnati Reds with you. On today's show, it is 0 days to opening day. That's right. Alex Blandino days to opening day. We are here. We have arrived. The Queen City is alive. It should be a national holiday. We have got all the breakdowns for you. We're going to be talking about the roster. It is set. We're going to tell you who the main characters are. Jeff said in the open, the main characters here, that's me. The main characters for the Reds, that's who we're going to be talking about coming up. A little bit later, we're going to dig into what the X factors of this team are going to be, and with some key players starting the season on the injured list, which we're going to get to here in just a second, there will be some pitfalls. There will be some traps that the Reds could fall into that Terry Francona is going to have to successfully navigate. We've got all of that for you on today's show. And Jeff, let's just dive right into this. It is opening day. The roster is set. We know who's going to be here. Let's start talking about it.
Yeah, we actually had a couple of updates happen later on in the afternoon on Wednesday, setting the roster up finally, all 26 men accounted for today's game. And there was a bit of a surprise because the first surprise was Austin Hayes would hit the injured list with a calf strain, something he was held out of the game in Dayton on Tuesday night for. Some of it is precautionary. Terry Francona says that the injury is minor. He very well could only miss like 6 or 7 games, and then he should be back in the Reds lineup. The other surprise is Spencer Steer will not hit the injured list after that was previously reported about a week ago. It was something that they said he can DH through what he is dealing with, and he can ramp up his throwing. So we will see him as the Reds' designated hitter on opening day. I'm excited about that. I think that helps out the lineup where we'll lose Austin Hayes in the cleanup spot. We won't have Tyler Stevenson, but we will have Spencer Steer. Love to see that. So then that means the final 2 bench spots went to Blake Dunn and Jacob Hurtubise. And I thought it was interesting, Steve, because with the announcement that Dunn and Hurtubise made the roster, Terry Francona singled out Blake Dunn, and he said, quote, Blake Dunn forced his way onto this roster. We don't just want him to be a platoon player, end quote. That's crazy, right?
That's a pretty interesting statement from the head guy. It tells me that the days of straight platoons in this town might be coming to an end if Terry's looking for guys that he can just run out there every day. And I'm kind of excited about that. Obviously the part that you didn't hit on there is Fairchild. We hardly knew you. Stuart Fairchild has been DFA'd from this team in order to make the spot for those 2 outfielders. So is that a better grouping, DFAing Stu and bringing those 2? I think it probably is, Jeff. You and I, when we talked about this, when it was going to be just one of them, six of one, half dozen of the other, what's the difference going to be? I kind of landed with Dunn just because I liked that he was a righty and I was thinking platoon in my mind. But now having both of those guys on the roster, I think that gives Francona a little bit more flexibility, I think, than keeping Stuart Fairchild, because there was 0 circumstances where Stuart Fairchild should have faced a right-handed pitcher, like 0. That never should have been allowed to happen. So now he's got some flexibility. I like that both of these kids are getting a look. And that's some pretty strong rhetoric coming from Tito about Dunn, because that looks like more than injuries forced us to keep you around, kid. Get a few at bats. Let's see what you can do. That's more of you earned your way here you're going to get to stay if you continue to play well. I like that. I like Dunn. I think this is a great opportunity for him.
I really want to get deeper into his profile and what we can expect for him to bring to the Reds plate here in a little bit, because this outfield is definitely a pitfall for the team. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but I want to get to the stars, the main characters of this team. It's three guys, and we all know them. It's Hunter Greene, it's Matt McLain, and it's Elly De La Cruz. Like, I really think the 1-2 punch of Matt McLain and Elly De La Cruz being back together again, I think that's going to be a lot better than what we saw last year from the Reds. And that is something that I know that there are a lot of people are super down on the injuries that we see on this roster. And because Matt McLain is healthy and ready to go, dude hit an Oppo Taco home run, 3-run homer on Tuesday night. And because CES is ready to go, the Reds are in a better spot here on opening day, because you've got Matt McLain, who's going to hit in front of Elly De La Cruz. He's going to see some good pitches to hit. And then you've also, of course, got Hunter Greene, our opening day starter, and Cy Young hopeful in this rotation.
I think Audie and Tony fell into that Cincinnati trap, and it's hard not to, especially when you're taking calls from the Cincinnati. When you're taking calls from the Cincinnati fan base. Listen, I understand why everybody feels the way that they feel around here. You and I talk about this. You can only get kicked in your face so many times in your fandom and not have kind of a negative outlook. This team has yet to win that World Series that will kind of push that reset button. Hopefully this is the year, but I get it. But, I think deep down in their hearts, both Audie and Tony know this team is better positioned to deal with those injuries than it has been. It's definitely better positioned this year than it was last year. You look at this lineup now, TJ Friedel's going to lead off. Matt McLain's going to bat second. Ellie's going to bat third. Now with Hayes out, I wonder, do we see CES or Jeimer Candelario as the number 4 hitter? Either one of those guys could be put there. Jeimer was going to bat 5. I would leave him there, and I would move CES up into the 4 hole and just see what happens until Austin Hayes comes back. That would be what I would do.
I wonder if Francona goes with experience over potential in this case. He probably puts Candelario 4th, but I think that CES at some point is going to take hold of the cleanup spot this year, and he's not going to let go.
That's a pretty dangerous 1 through 4, 1 through 4, 1 through 5. That's still a really good lineup, Jeff. That's a run scoring lineup.
It really is, and because of the health of those key guys and Matt McLain and CES, I want to talk about CES a little bit later, but because of that, I'm bullish, but I'm also super bullish on the attention to detail and the consistency that this roster is going to gain. Something that it's hard to say right now because they haven't shown it, but I believe it's going to happen because of Terry Francona. It's something that he said they focused on a lot in camp.
I don't think there are little plays. When you leave the batter's box, the game's just starting. I want to make sure we drove that home. Everybody knows you got to get hits and things like that, but playing the game when you're not hitting or you're not pitching, that's what's going to help us win games.
I really love what Terry Francona brings to the table with this roster. I think that he is going to he's going to push the right buttons. He's going to get the right settings. He's going to turn, get everything to the right number. And I think we're talking about, at least an extra 5 wins because he's the Reds manager.
I don't know if you caught the National League Central preview show that I did. You weren't on that one with us, but, I was telling the guys, that's exactly what I said, Jeff. I said this on paper is an 83, 84 win team. And then you add in the Francona factor, and he could push them out to 87, 88 wins, which will probably be enough to win this division. I like having Francona in charge. He's just a better manager than we've had in a long time. There's really no other way to put that. I know that sounds a little terrible towards the other dudes that were here. I wish them all luck in whatever they're doing, and, David Bell in Toronto, whatever. But Terry is a better manager. He's going to make better decisions. And I think what we'll see, the byproduct of that, it's not just 5 wins because Terry's smarter. He is smarter. He is a smarter baseball guy, but it's 5 wins because he's going to manage the bullpen better. It's going to be fresh. There's going to be experienced guys down there he can go to every day to close a game. It's going to be better because he's going to put the position players in position to be successful. He's going to put guys in positions to be the best versions of themselves, and he's going to hold dudes accountable. That's where those extra wins come from. That's why I'm so excited that Tito Francona is the manager of the Cincinnati Reds.
Along with the little details that Terry Francona brings, There's 4 players that I'm looking at to be X factors. 4 players that I'm like, if these guys go, the team's going to go too. We'll tell you who those are next. Baseball season is back, and the best way to take advantage of every single day is with Prize Picks, the best place for daily fantasy sports. With Prize Picks, you pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and if you're right, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash. Whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, Prize Picks keeps every game exciting. Plus, setting up a lineup takes less than 60 seconds. It's so easy. You can get down to the ballpark, you can make your picks, and you're right back into the game immediately. And when you win, your payout is quick, safe, and secure. I always love taking advantage of Taco Tuesday, where Prize Picks offers discounts on select player projections for even more value. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Get the supplies you need from the site that's made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're into plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with the helpful resources and latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands, you'll find exactly what you're looking for delivered fast from coast to coast. Plus, they offer the Trade Master program, which gives you exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order for those of you that are looking for the big jobs out there. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage of this awesome program. So join the Trade Master program for free at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. You can also use the promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Thanks for always making Locked On Reds your first listen every day, especially here on opening day. Happy opening day to everybody. If this is your first time watching the show, make sure you subscribe, become an everydayer, and shout out to our everydayers out there. You guys have been with us all throughout the offseason, all throughout spring training, and you'll be with us all throughout the rest of the 162. We got one today, and then there's 161 after that. We're going to be with you every step of the way. And by the way, make sure you check out Tim Daniel over on the Locked On Reds postcast after every game as well. All right, Steve, with the main characters come the next group of guys, the X factors, the guys who can really take the expectations of this team and augment them. Like you said, I do tend to agree that this is an 83-84 win team. And then if they catch lightning in the bottle and if some things go right, we could see them win the division. The reasons for that will be these next 4 guys. I'm looking at 2 position players and 2 pitchers here. I'll see what you think about them. I'm looking at Christian Encarnacion-Strand, Jake Fraley on the position side, and then I'm looking at Nick Lodolo, and I'm looking at Graham Ashcraft for differing reasons on the pitching side of things.
I think let's start with CES for just a minute, because of the guys on this list, I think him being right could have the biggest impact on this team of the guys that you mentioned there, because, he's going to play every day if he is right or near every day. And yep. I think the Reds took a look around the room in the offseason when we were all beating on the table saying right-handed power hitting outfield bat, right? Or at least I was. I think Nick Carr was looking around the room going, I think CES has a 35 homer season in him. I think that's where the Reds front office mindset was. So CES
he's
has
2 of the 3. He's
that.
not an outfield, but
right.
He's a right-handed power.
If he delivers that, if he hits 30 to 35 home runs, I said this the other day, Nick Krall's going to look like a genius, which is going to make me a little crazy, but a 35 home run season from CES, this team's on its way to winning 87 games. It really is that big of an impact.
It really is, because when you look at last season, the Reds' cleanup spot in their order was one of the worst positions to be in. I mean, the middle of the order for the Reds last year was just nothing. There was no production from it hardly at all.
Well, yeah,
There was
the four hole was a black hole. That's really that's really what it was.
And if CES transforms that, then we are talking about a different ball club, because Elly De La Cruz, outside of there being some sort of monumental shift in how Terry Francona builds the lineup, I expect Elly De La Cruz to hit third all season long. So who hits fourth, who gets those pitches after Elly is at bat and hopefully on base, that's going to be a big thing. And I look at this and I say, yeah, Spencer Steer led the team in RBIs last year. You know why? Because generally he was hitting after Elly De La Cruz. I think it's easy to just pencil in who's right behind him, say that guy's going to lead the team in RBIs, but they got to earn it. And I think that that's the reason why CES is a big X factor. The other reason, the other guy that I have as an X factor on the position side, the lineup side, Jake Fraley being an X factor. If the power's back, he's a guy that I think can really expand the ceiling, expand the upper potential of this team. And I asked him, I got the chance to ask him in Dayton on Tuesday, how do you feel compared to last year? Because that's obviously the biggest question. He went through a lot last year on and off the field. And honestly, I loved his answer.
There is no comparison. Today is today. I know the questions always come and everybody always likes to do about last year and compare and expectations, but I am the ultimate person that comes to today, is the only focus. I'm not focusing on what I did last year. I'm not focusing on anything along those lines. It's, I got to show up today and be present in order to do my job today. And I take that mentality into each and every day.
I'm the ultimate guy when it comes to focus, is just an S tier answer for me. I'm all in on Jake Fraley having a really good 2025.
Yeah. Jeff, if he could be that same 260, 270 hitter, but bring back 20 home runs, bring back that kind of power. That's
2023 slugging with 2024 average.
That would be a tremendous for the time that he's going to play. I still think Francona will platoon him. I know we're talking about the possibility of moving away from platoons.
He can't hit lefties. He can't.
That being the right-handed part of a decent platoon, team him up with Dunn, team him up with other guys you can stick out there. I really kind of like what that brings to the lineup. We're getting to a spot when once this team is kind of healthy and rolling along, you can go 1 through 7, 1 through 8, and there's not really a guy in the lineup for the most part where they're coming up and you're like, well, crap, this inning's over. Look who's coming up. They don't have that guy really this year. Obviously it's got to translate onto the field, and spring training numbers don't particularly matter. But when you just look at it on paper and you look at what we know most of these players are capable of, it could be that kind of a lineup.
We are absolutely in the minority in thinking this. Most of Reds country is super worried about this lineup. Most of Reds country looks at Jake Fraley and looks at some of these guys and doesn't know what to think of them. And because they don't know what to think of them, they're writing them off. And that's why we're telling you should not write off Christian Encarnacion-Strand, and you shouldn't write off Jake Fraley. But on the pitching side of things, Nick Lodolo being healthy is such a huge game changer. We talked a lot about the fact of the blister and everything that happened after the blister and how it derailed his season. But do you remember, Steve, he actually began the season on the injured list too. He buoyed his season. He was hurt. Then he starts pitching. His first 11 starts, amazing. Then he gets hurt, and he's horrible after that. He's healthy to begin the season, and he's ready to go. And I think that is such a huge thing, because we have seen that a healthy Nick Lodolo pushes Hunter Greene for the ace status on this ball club. So
it's never been a question for me of what Nick Lodolo brings to this team when he's right and pitching. The real X factor here, Jeff, the thing we don't know, the real mystery is, can he stay healthy? Can he be available for, what are we thinking, 25 starts out of him? Because
that's my hope. That's my expectation.
So 25 starts, if he can do that and still be available for the postseason, that's where it comes in. That's what the Reds need from him. This is kind of, he's bordering up to a make or break season. I'm not saying that if he has problems again this year, well, that's it. We got to give up on Nick Lodolo. But at some point, a player is showing you who he really is. And Nick Lodolo needs to show this team that he can make 25 starts. That really has to happen this season. And if it does, if that pairs up with what Hunter Greene has become the ace, the stud of this staff, the space of ace belongs to Hunter Greene. If Nick Lodolo can push that, the Reds are on their way, because I like what comes up behind. Brady Singer at 3. Then you've got Carson Spires filling in the 5 hole. I skipped the 4. Who did I skip? I skipped somebody.
Oh, you skipped Brady's or Nick Martinez.
Nick Martinez. I skipped
Yeah.
Nick Martinez. So I like, Brady Singer at 3, Nick Martinez at 4. You've got Carson Spires filling in until Andrew Abbott comes back as your 5th starter. Are you kidding me? This is a good rotation.
And Rhett Lauder's waiting in the wings once he gets
Right.
stretched out and ready to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is a good rotation, Jeff. I like I said, I get why there's negative energy out there, because Natty's gonna natty, but guys, this team is a lot better than you all are giving it credit for.
And it's because of the pitching staff that I'm so happy about this. The chances for this team to do well, and the starting pitching staff is so good that they were okay moving Graham Ashcraft to the bullpen. They finally admitted what we all knew that they would admit eventually, and that is that Graham Ashcraft is better suited for short inning work. And I think this is going to play out well. I think the cutter and the slider are going to be weapons for him in a 3 to 6 out, kind of bite-sized look at what we can expect from Hunter Greene. And in a bullpen that Alexis Diaz is beginning the year on the injured list, but there are plenty of guys that have that experience and have closer experience on them. Graham Ashcraft has an opportunity to become the best of all of them.
I'm still a little disappointed, Jeff, that Ashcraft didn't come into camp ready to set the world on fire. And I know we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but I wonder if that's kind of the last little parting gift from David Bell. Guys expected to be able to come in and kind of,
Work
do
their
their
way up
thing
to it,
and
but
work
they
their
got a
way
spot. They
into
don't have
it.
to worry. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder if that's what that was all about. So now here's the deal. He didn't start the season in AAA. He's got an opportunity now to go set the world on fire. And I think he can do that. Can he be the closer of this team? He can absolutely end up being the closer of this team. I think it's going to be a closer by committee for the first little bit here in the season, because remember, this is the most experienced bullpen the Reds have had in a long, long time. Guys that have closed games on this team. Emilio Pagan closed for a season. Barlow has been a closer. Rogers has been a closer. You think Santillan can be a closer. We think Ashcraft can be a closer. And somewhere along the way, Alexis Diaz is going to come back, hopefully with a chip on his shoulder, saying, hey, that's my job. There's experience in this bullpen. There are a lot of guys that Francona can look to every day to get things done. So I'm not as down on this bullpen as I'm hearing people talk.
No, I'm very bullish about it. And I think that the bullpen could very well be just as much of a strength of the team as the starting rotation. But I know this, Steve, not everything is roses. Not everything is rainbows and unicorns and perfect.
You forgot kittens.
And kittens and puppies and pizza. There are some bad things too. There's some pitfalls, namely the outfield. We'll tell you why next. But first, I want to tell you about the best snack you can get. That's wonderful pistachios. Right here, I got the chili roasted. Almost out of them. I've been slowing up on how many I've been eating. I'm not going to lie, because I've been eating them so quick. These things are addictive, but they're so good for you too. They're packed with protein. I mean, we're talking about so much protein. 11% of your daily allotment in a serving. Go get yourself a bag of wonderful pistachios today. Plus the shelled versions like this one, this chili roasted, come in so many great flavors. They also have salt and vinegar. They have jalapeno lime. They have good roasted, just plain old salt. If you're not looking for any of the crazy flavors, wonderful pistachios has you covered. Drop the chips, drop the pretzels, and get snacking and get cracking on the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more.
If you can't watch us on YouTube, you can listen to us on your favorite podcasting app. We are quite literally on, I think, every single one of them. If you find one we're not and you need us to be, let us know. Jeff will make it happen. You can take us wherever you go, in the car, to the gym, on a walk. We can talk Reds baseball with you wherever you are, because that's what we love to do. Make sure you are subscribed. All right, Jeff, you teased pitfalls there. Now, we are the optimism team, right? Me and you,
Yes.
we try to find the good.
Much to
within
the
things.
chagrin of some, that's for sure.
Right. We acknowledge the bad, but we look for the good. But, because the Reds are going in with some question marks, there are potentials for pitfalls. There are potentials for problems. What jumps out to you as the biggest potential pitfall for this team?
Definitely the outfield. And especially with already having an injury to Austin Hayes, the one and only upgrade that the Reds made to the outfield this offseason, I'm concerned about it. And as much as I'm not concerned on certain things of this team, certain areas of this team, I'm very concerned about the outfield because it's hinging on a guy that's had a really rough season. I think that Austin Hayes can bounce back, and he is recovered from what ailed him last year and the kidney infection and all that other stuff. But the calf was an injury he carried with him through spring training into opening day of last year when he was with the Orioles. Now, he had a better start to the season. They ended up trading him, but I still kind of wonder about that. And then you also have TJ Friedl, who plays the game at 150% every day, and that's something we love about him, but that is an ingrained trait that he has. Ergo, there's some issues that could arise health-wise from that sort of playing philosophy. And then you have right field where, yes, Jake Fraley is an X factor. Part of being an X factor is, though, we don't necessarily know that that's who he's going to be. He could still not be that power guy, and then we're really wondering about what right field looks like. Does Blake Dunn take it over every day? We've not seen enough to know much about Blake Dunn, although I will say this, he's a fast guy with a good glove, great range. His arm is okay. And so what does he look like at the plate is really what he's got to grow into and prove to us on the field. And Jacob Hurtubise is all well and good, and he's had a great spring. Can he parlay that into some sort of regular season success? He should be here until Austin Hayes gets it gets called off the injured list. But overall, the outfield is just a bunch of guys with a bunch of key question marks surrounding them.
Yeah, and you didn't even say the name TJ Friedl. Who is it going to be? 2024 TJ Friedl? Is it going to be 2023 TJ Friedl? We don't know. I still don't know. I know you think you know. I don't know who TJ Friedl is. I don't know who that guy really is.
Health is the big question.
That 2023 TJ Friedl was great. If that's who he really is, great. The Reds are cooking with gas. But if you're looking at 2024, is he going to be this off injured dude that, can't be Captain Chaos for us? Then it's problematic. So I look at him. The other thing I look at, Jeff, the other potential pitfall here is, given the way the injuries have played out and Spencer Steer now only being able to be DH, that means that Jeimer Candelario isn't the DH. That means that Jeimer is playing in the field. He's going to play third base, Jeff. That's just the way it's going to be. And he's very statuesque over there at times. And he's going to have to play better defense. And that means that Elly's going to have to play even better defense, because he's going to have to make up for a little bit of that ranging to his right. So we're going to have to see people step it up. That's a bit of a problem, I think. And then when it's not Candelario, it's probably going to be Lux over there, that's not his strongest position, but you're going to have to put him there. So that's a potential pitfall for me defensively. This team has to get better defensively. That was a big problem last year.
They were bad.
Because as good as we think this lineup is going to be, as good as we think this pitching staff is going to be, you can't give away free runs. You can't give away extra outs. That was a huge problem for this team. Tito has told us they're going to play baseball the right way. And I know he was talking about defense when he said that. That was a lot of what he was talking about. So I hope that message has stuck through spring training. And just circling back to Austin Hayes for just a second, Jeff, I like that they put him on the injured list. I bet if you were talk to Austin Hayes right now, he'd be like, dude, I'm ready. I could play today. I could go play today. But this calf is much like we talked about a couple years back with a dude named Jonathan India and his hamstring. These leg pulls, these muscle strains in the lower half of your body, if you don't rest them correctly, they turn into a big thing very quickly. So I like that they're shutting him down and making sure that once they put him out there, he can stay out there, because the Reds need him to be out there, and they need him to be out there a lot. So I like this. I can live with these kind of precautionary IL stints at the beginning of the season if it means we have guys in August and September that can help push this team across the finish line. So I'm
Right.
okay with that. I'm okay with how they're managing the roster. I'm okay navigating these pitfalls in April. I'm much more okay with navigating them in April than I am in September. So I'm okay with this, Jeff. I think there are potentials for there to be some problems, but I think that we've got the smart manager to do the navigating. I think that we've got enough talent in this lineup to mitigate some of the other things that are going to happen as a result of it. And if, outfield production's down a little bit because you've got to put Jacob Hurtubise out there more than you wanted to, I think with Matt McLain and Elly and Friedel and CES and those guys at the top of this roster, they can make up for it a little bit production-wise.
I agree. And I think that's a great point to end today's podcast. Thanks, everybody, for checking us out. Happy opening day. Hope that you're getting a chance to go down to the game. And if you're not,
hey, look for us. Look for us
if you're
Come
down
say
there.
hi.
We'll be down there. We'll be down there for sure. And man, it's my favorite day of the year. And I'm so glad that it's here. And thank you for checking out today's podcast. I'm so glad you did. So glad. If it was your first time, make sure you hit subscribe. If you're an everydayer, thank you so much for that. Make sure you also subscribe on your favorite audio podcasting app because we're on that too, because we're going to be with you every single day. And we'll be recapping this game tomorrow. So make sure you join us then. Until then, Steve, what do we always say?
We will be locked on Reds every single day. All right, let's go find some beverages.
Whew. Heading down to the banks. I love this day. It's the best day.
Let's go.